Dezmon Landers here, your startup advisor and partner in entrepreneurship. Aloha from Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm recording this from the island of Oahu right now. It just actually completed one of the summer rains that happen here often, and I'm not sure if you can see there's a little rainbow here as well. That's one of the little treats that we got here for this video. But hey, this is our 6th time to Hawaii. It's a great place. I wanted to make a going global video to really talk to many of you that maybe haven't been here or have been here but haven't been to places like where I'm standing on top of Diamond Head right now, which is an ex-volcano, as we call it. It's about 200,000 years old. Look, I want to talk to you for a little bit about entrepreneurship in Honolulu. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about the city. There's about 350,000 people. You can see the downtown of Honolulu is right on the coast here. This little area here is Waikiki. It's similar to like Buckhead in Atlanta or some of the more upscale neighborhoods that may be in your city. This is the southernmost and westernmost largest American city in the entire country. It's even further south than Miami and the Keys. It's actually on the same latitude as Cuba, believe it or not. We just found that out earlier today. It's actually the gateway for a lot of international U.S. multinational corporations to get to Asia. So, you know, just like when folks are trying to get down to Latin America and trying to do business there, and they put a port in Miami, then Honolulu is actually that gateway to Asia as well. Another big area or industry here is the military defense industry. We have an Air Force base and an Army base here. And there's a lot of companies, as you know, just like in DC, that kind of flutter out that are doing business with those organizations. Now, entrepreneurship here is kind of hard because this is actually one of the highest cost of living states in the entire union. The average per capita income here is about $30,000, about $70,000 per household. To give you an idea, the average home here costs about $750,000. So I don't know where you live, but even in Atlanta, you know, that's a pretty upscale home. And for an entrepreneur who's just trying to start a business in the early stages, you have to have a lot of capital and a lot of runway to get things done here. It costs about $50 to incorporate an LLC, and there's a $15 annual report fee. Now that's pretty inexpensive. That's on par with like Wyoming and Nevada, but actually generating revenue and hitting the break-even points for, you know, rent, anything from, you know, down here in Waikiki, rent as a storefront is $10,000 a month. I mean, how many things do you have to sell to get there? Even companies like Honolulu Storage, which are surfboard storage companies, have been able to survive here. And I want to talk about them really quick because it's very, very interesting. If you do come here, you want to focus either on tourism or something to do with the Asian culture. That seems to be something that is very, very prevalent here. Actually, what's interesting is with Honolulu Storage, you can look it up, it's honoluluStorage.com. They actually rent spaces for surfboards, believe it or not. So you can pay anywhere from $20 to $40 a month to park your surfboard right outside the beach of Waikiki. Very interesting side business. As many of you know, I'm going to be working with corporate professionals on their side businesses. I estimated that there's about 60 surfboards out there, so they're probably doing about $30,000 a year. It's not big money, but as a side business, an extra $2,000 to $2,500 a month, depending on what your operating costs are, could be some good extra income. Now, another business that I thought was interesting that I've spent a lot of money with here is the ABC stores. The ABC stores are actually a souvenir shop created by the son of a Japanese immigrant, and it's primarily geared towards helping the folks that are coming from Japan get what they need to get and take souvenirs back home. It's very embedded in the Japanese culture to bring quality souvenirs home. I actually just found that out from a gentleman whose restaurant that we ate at. He's been here since 1977. He said the influence of the Japanese here is great. Another thing about ABC stores that's interesting is it's on par and very similar to 7-Eleven. Now back home, you know, you see 7-Elevens on every corner. When we went to Thailand, 7-Eleven was everywhere. When we went to Egypt, it's all over the place, right? But not quite as prevalent here because they've been able to build a competitive advantage and a loyal customer base that patronizes the ABC stores versus 7-Eleven. Now, another business that I want to talk about is a little bit larger business, also started by an Irish immigrant. The name of that is Foodland. Foodland is the equivalent to like a Publix or Kroger or even a Walmart. It's got about 50-something stores around the entire island. There's about 900 employees, and that's primarily where a lot of the Hawaiians get their food from. Now, the interesting thing in my first experience with Foodland is that when we went in to buy cayenne pepper about 3 years ago here, I found that cayenne pepper for a little thing like this big was about $8. And I said, you know what? The cost of living here is a very real thing, and so you just have to make sure that you're managing your money correctly and that you have a profitable business so you can get to your break-even points when you need to so that you can survive on an island like this. Now, Hawaii is great. As you can see, the sun's out, you know, people are out hanging out, and this is a huge tourist destination. The quality of life is great here, but again, just make sure from a financial standpoint you have the runway that you need. Immigrant entrepreneurship is huge here. About 20% of all of the business revenue generated in this state comes from quote unquote immigrants. That's about $772 million that has been generated by immigrants. And the state of Hawaii has a big push to make sure that people from other countries can get established here and grow thriving businesses. So I want to leave you with a couple points. Number one, the biggest theme and thing to worry about when you come and start business in Hawaii is the cost of living. So either make sure that you have some runway, probably $50,000 to $100,000 before you start a business, because you're going to burn through that money pretty quickly before you get to your break-even point, or make sure you have investment capital, and make sure it's a business that is a niche business, either in tourism or dealing with some aspects of the Asian culture. Now, can you do other things like create a restaurant and all those things? Absolutely. But we want to make sure you're building profitable businesses that are unique, that are not necessarily on the mainland. Outside of that, I would highly recommend coming to Honolulu first to get situated and grounded on the Hawaiian Islands, and then bounce over to places like Kona and Maui after that. Dezmon Landers here, and mahalo from Honolulu, Hawaii.